everybody out there, this is Matt, and welcome to a new feature on Adamant Ditto that we like to call the Retro Review, where we look back and review some of our favorite classic games. Between all of us here at Adamant Ditto, we have played hundreds of video games, and it's only fair we share some of our experiences with you, the viewers. Now, these reviews likely won't be full in-depth reviews like you'd find on, say, any professional video game journalist's website. These are just, quick little looks back on some of our favorite video games of yesteryear. And I'm going to start us off with one of my favorite side-scrolling platforming games of all time, Toy Story for the Super Nintendo. Now, if you know anything about video gaming, you know more often than not, licensed games range from mediocre to terrible. But fortunately for all of us Pixar fans, the Toy Story franchise has gotten lucky by having some pretty good games, especially this one. It was side-scrolling at its finest. The game loosely follows the story of the movie and has levels to reflect it. For example, the first level involves Woody having to let the Green Army men loose and find the second baby monitor for them to go see what Andy's getting for his birthday. You know that scene in the movie, red alert, Andy's coming upstairs, resume your positions, repeat, resume your positions now, Andy's coming, everybody back here. Okay, I'm getting off track here. The next level involves having to get all the toys back to their places, and the very next one is Woody racing against Buzz to get to the bed, starting their rivalry. So most of the levels have at least a little bit to do with the movie. In fact, some of the best parts are all based directly on the movie. There's a boss battle with the claw, and in another level you have to use Buzz's karate chop action to fend off Sid's mutant toys. As a kid, I can never get to these levels. In fact, I can never even get past the RC racing level where you have to knock Buzz over all the time. Like any good 16-bit era game, this game is freaking hard. I've only ever been able to beat it using codes, and if you saw me play it during our Toy Story 3 podcast, you can see that even with cheats, I'm still not very good at it. Hell, I don't know how any little kid was supposed to beat this, or most games from the age of gaming for that matter, but I digress. One of the most impressive aspects of the game was the graphics. It uses a similar graphic engine to the Donkey Kong Country games, so the sprites give off a 3D polished look rather than a typical cartoony sprite look. This was obviously to make it look more like the movie, and it works really well. The animations are great, and every stage looks like it would fit in with the movie. Except Andy and Sid have two of the longest rooms in the world, and the inside of the claw machine is pretty damn big. I don't think any claw machine looks quite like that. I mean, look at it. It's huge. But again, I'm digressing. This game was on the Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis, and the PC. I had the Genesis version as a kid, but I'm showing you the Super Nintendo version. Both versions are pretty much the same thing. The Genesis version's graphics are slightly better, and a few of the levels have minor tweaks, and there's a bonus level, which is basically a clone of Outrun. There's also like a mini-game where you have to like match things or something, I don't even remember. But other than those few things, both games are pretty much the same. And if you have either the Super Nintendo or the Genesis, I would definitely recommend it. I don't know anything about the PC version, so if you've played it, feel free to let me know if it's worth recommending. But yeah, that was just my quick little look at the very first Toy Story game, and that is the first of what I hope is many retro reviews. I encourage all of my fellow Adamant Ditto teammates here to post some of their favorite, or maybe even least favorite, video games that they've played in the past. I mean, retro is retro, It doesn't even have to be, like, that old. If you have, like, a PlayStation 3 game that's a few years old that you want to review, go for it, guys. But, yeah, that was my first look, and I hope you enjoyed it.